Hello, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back to, at least for me, a very, very special video. It's so special because I got my personal grail of all grails. For me, it cannot get more exciting than this record. And we get into the record, of course. We talk about the music on the record, and of course we talk about it, what it does to me as a collector when you finally have it. Because I was afraid that it's not that easy if you finally have this record. And yeah, I talk about Monster Movie. The can, in this case, yeah, wasn't a mistake. At that point it was the can. Of course, a little later they got rid of the article and only has been the can ever since. But for the Monster Movie private pressing, they were the can. And it comes here with a nice sentence. I'm not 100% sure that it belongs to the record title. It says, "Made in a castle with better equipment." And of course, this "made in a castle with better equipment" is an homage to the place where they did this recording. They did it near Cologne in Schloss Nörvenich. And I think for the most time of their career, they recorded their records over there. They got into the studio late 1968. The record itself came out in, was produced and recorded, I think, in January 1969. So quite fast after they got into the new studio. Can at this point were Ermin Schmidt, Jackie Liebezeit, Holger Czukay, Michael Caroli, and Malcolm Mooney, who left the band after Monster Movie. And you know the humor of this. Please let me take the time how they describe the instruments they play on the guitar. Excuse me, on this record. Ermin Schmidt, for example, is admin space coordinator and organ laser. Jackie Liebezeit, propulsion engineer and mystic, excuse me, and mystic spell short reader. Caroli is sonar and retarded guitar pilot. No, radared guitar pilot, not retarded, sorry for this. The singer Malcolm Mooney is linguistic space communicator. So a lot of humor, a lot of fun. Also, and that's this have the equal on the Matrix. It says it's recorded in stereo, and here you can see this, and I read it to you. It's recorded. It's Scheißhaus Records production. Scheißhaus is a very bad word for toilet. Then it also said this record doesn't contain any broken sounds. So a lot of humor, a lot of fun. So the whole spirit of the record here, I show you the backside completely now, is fun, innovative. I mean, 1969, as a debut, at least for a complete album, putting out this free jazz-inspired, avant-garde crowd, psychedelic rock-inspired record. This is an unbelievable record. The power of this release, I just can't imagine for all those upcoming young krautrock bands here in the area, here in Germany. Wow, it must have been amazing for those musicians who listened to this record. Very important for this record is also that we might, or that we should consider that Ermin Schmidt and Holger Czukay, who played the bass guitar and was the sound engineer and tape engineer on this recording, I get to it about the recording quality a little later. They were both students from Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, and how they transported this giant of modern music, Stockhausen, into this rock album it's breathtaking. And don't get this wrong, this record is not unbelievable far out here. It's very accessible in my opinion. It's just great, fantastic music. Unbelievable, innovative at the time, but very listenable and so full of ideas, humor in a good sense, without being ridiculous, of course. Wonderful listening experience. And as I mentioned, Holger Czukay is, when it comes to this recording, at least the technical guy. He did, the production is his on this one. And although they didn't have the wonderful equipment, the production quality is amazing. I was so surprised when I gave this recording a first listening. Wow, wow, wow. So what I will do now that I have this original private pressing, I will do a comparison to a reissue, what kind of job they did, because you know, when it comes to private pressings, it's not unusual that they are not that good. Sometimes they are fantastic, and this is on the fantastic side of things. You know, why is it, why a private press? It's a private press because the Can at that time, they sent out tapes to the record industry, but they didn't hear anything from them. And then they say, come on, we put it out now. And then they did a private press. So, but how many? I have heard 600, I've heard 500, I've heard 400. Then I even heard the rumor that a little later on, Liberty made a contract with them. And they did them a favor and pressed a few that got out as private pressings too. But as my copy has a relatively early number, it's 225, I'm quite sure that if this rumor is true, it's only a rumor, I've heard that once, I'm sure that this is one of the earlier ones, because those numbers, no matter if it's 400, 500 or 600, for a private pressing, in my opinion, that's quite a lot. So if you consider this, so why there are way more rare krautrock records than monster movie private press. But of course, what you have to consider when you look into that equation, why this is so, in some cases, ridiculously expensive, Can is a giant when it, at least when it comes to krautrock music. They made quite a career. So of course the demand is relatively high, and then this relatively high numbers, let's say 500, is again nothing. I only saw one copy so far at Den Bosch, but I was not so happy with it. That was simply too much for me, and I said no, that's not possible. And of course, when I started collecting original vinyls, and somebody would have asked me, will you ever buy that? I would have said, no, of course not. This is, no, I won't. But you know, times change, the importance sometimes switches. And most importantly, due to this contact I mentioned several times now in my videos, where I get all those, or the most of these krautrock grails, he had one copy, or yeah, he had one copy, and you know, if you have this, he said, yeah, I have one, but I don't want to sell it. And of course I understood, I totally understood. And this 12 months ago that I heard for the first time that he has a copy, and but he always told me that if he wants to sell it, it's probably me who he will offer it. And so I waited and I waited and I waited, and we didn't talk about that often. And then a couple of weeks ago, he said, Michael, I'm ready. I'm willing to sell it. and then I need a couple of weeks to think about it if I really want to do it, and yeah, and then I decided, hey, come on, last chance, only chance probably, and so I bought it last week. Yeah, and here it is. You can see the label in a wonderful condition, and yeah, phew, who would have thought that? I wouldn't. But now it's here, and then I always wondered, how will that be when there will be the day when you have it, a record that I would have considered all the time as not possible, because I want it in a certain condition, and luckily this is in my opinion, in a wonderful condition, really wonderful condition. And you know, when you talk to people who in sports, and then they had their huge success, maybe that's, you can compare that a little in a way. They say, oh, it was so boring, I was so empty. And I was afraid of that. So now you have Monster Movie Can, private pressing, yeah, and what's the next kick? But that didn't happen at all. Luckily, that didn't happen at all. I'm still as excited about those records as I have been. I still have records I desperately want to have if I find them. Of course, they are not in the same range. Luckily, they are not in the same range as the Monster Movie. So for me personally, this is very, very good news that this hasn't changed anything in that regard. So no, all good, all good. Totally happy to have it. Totally happy to have it. Totally happy to listen to it. And yes, I will listen to it. I don't put that away and oh, careful, don't touch it. No, I will listen to it. And another thing, maybe if you want to hear it, on my German channel, every Tuesday I play an original record, and maybe next week, next Tuesday, I will make a video with the whole record, so that you, if you want to, that you can listen to the whole original on the German channel. I do this on the German, not on the English. If you're interested, keep an eye over to the German channel. Yeah. Here it is. Here it is. And what an amazing record. And as we live in wonderful times, as we live in really, really wonderful times, there are reissues. You can stream it. So, and that's of course the most important thing. The music is out there. Of course, there are some nutheads like me who, for whatever reason, wants the original if there is any chance. But the most important thing, of course, and I think maybe this is, especially when it comes to these kind of records, and this record, it's worth stating again. The most important thing is the record. The music on it, not the record, the music on it. But in our wonderful times, it's accessible in so many different formats, and hey, that's the relaxing thing of it. That's the great part of it. That having said, or that being said, or whatever, it's not my native language, excuse me, but thank you very much for your time. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.